It's that time of the year again, new GoPros. But this is a very different time in the world of tech. iPhones have gotten so much better. In fact, that's actually being shot on a new iPhone 16 Pro Max. And more importantly, Ray-Ban Metas are in, and there's so much more from the world of wearables. But this is the OG. In this crowded, cluttered market, how can GoPro innovate? That's what we're going to find out with this unboxing. It's no mean feat to come up with 13 versions or upgrades to a particular camera. GoPro was the OG, but they're still standing strong. There are other players like DJI and of course Insta, but how often do you see a creator with those devices? This is the camera of choice. What's changed from the 12 to the 13? I'm going to show you everything to do with video quality, but the main things on the hardware front are interchangeable lenses right here, a whole bunch of them that I have in my VIP kit. Of course, it comes with a magnetic mount, also auto detection. You change the lens right there and it will tell you that you moved from an ND filter to a max lens. All of those things will change on the GoPro Hero 13 Black. But first, let's talk about video quality. I'm going to turn this on. Quick as ever. There are a few things that need to be ironed out when it comes to GoPro software. That's something we'll tell you about as well. Now, of course, a few GoPros ago, we got this front screen where you can vlog a lot better on it. It comes with that media mod attachment that I've used so much, but there's no real improvement in the sensor. Yes, they do talk about the slow-mo getting a lot better. Now, iPhones are coming with much improved slow-mo as well. But in this particular device, there's a new slow motion burst mode which can record 5.3K 120 FPS footage or even 400 FPS video at 720p resolution. That's half HD, a nice party trick for super slow-mo video. But when we talk about hyper smooth stabilization, that's where things change on the GoPro. It's always been the best at it. Apple and iPhones try to compete with action mode, but they say that hyper smooth stabilization has gotten an upgrade. I'm guessing that's a bit to do with the sensor, and I'm guessing that's a lot to do with software enhancements as well. But you know, just to make this a little easier for you, what if I was to compare this specialized camera? It's an apples to oranges comparison, but just to show you the output. If you're considering this for content creation, for instance, how does it really stack up against an iPhone? Now, I have the iPhone 16 Pro Max and I'm going to play that visual versus the GoPro Hero 13 Black visual. And then I want to show you what my Ray-Ban Metas, these tiny sensors on my glares right now, look like. And the biggest problem with the GoPro seems to have been fixed, or at least an attempt from GoPro to fix it, which was the problem of overheating. A lot of you all write to me in the comment section of our videos asking about the overheating problem. What has GoPro done? In such a tiny form factor, they've now introduced a heat sink. What does that do? Essentially, better thermal dissipation, better management of all that heat and ventilation, and that essentially translates to 13.5% more runtime on the GoPro. If this can last me my entire auto tech video, I'd be very happy. Also, the fact that this now has better battery life comes with a little bit of a twist. You cannot use the old batteries from a GoPro, which were usually always used across the lineup. Now you have a different design of the battery, which means you got to buy new batteries. But I am willing to pay that small price to actually get no overheating problems and better battery life. Now, us creators have been begging GoPro to really come up with something that's a game changer, and I think they've done it this time with these interchangeable lenses. All you have to do is hold this lens. This is the standard lens. Earlier, you couldn't remove it. You had to really snap on accessories and do all sorts of things. But now GoPro is coming up with them. You don't need to go to a third party. These accessories communicate electronically with the GoPro, and there's auto detection. Let me show you how it works. Just a nice little twist over here. Now, that lens is out. This is a new macro lens that you can put on the GoPro. Place it right here. And just like that, it has detected a macro lens is on, and you can do all sorts of really cool things for macro shots. If I'm playing with, let me actually try this out. Much improved on the GoPro, and that's how easy it is to swap the mounts and play around with the new lenses. So this was the macro lens, but what if I told you that there's an ultra wide and several ND filters as well? There will also be an anamorphic lens mod which comes in 2025 for that cinematic field of view, as well as to sort out lens flare. The new ND filter set, which I have in my hand, includes ND4, 8, 16 and 32 strength filters for various scenarios, and the camera now automatically adjusts your settings to add that desired motion blur effect, making it a lot more cinematic. Now these ND filters sound great in theory, but in practice my production team here on Tech Today is super excited about them, especially when we're doing those bright sunlight auto shoots and we've mounted the GoPro somewhere. This is something we're going to start using. It's not just these particular filters. I was talking about the macro lens mod. It can actually be quite useful and interesting because you can get really close to the subject, 4 times closer than the standard Hero 13 lens. This is also the first GoPro lens with variable focus, so you can back it off far enough to use the lens for vlogging and other moderately close subjects whilst blurring out the background a bit. Let me actually try that out and show it to you. So how does this macro lens work? Let me actually give you a real-world analysis. This is how I'd use it for vlogging, fairly wide, and that's the audio on the GoPro. Honestly, I was very happy with the Hero 12, but the Hero 13 has some of these enhancements which we'd love to toy with. There are a few things that are improved over the Hero 12. One big thing is GPS capability makes a comeback, enabling the camera to record speed, path, terrain, altitude and G-force. You can use this especially if you mount the GoPro to your dirt bike or you're out in the rugged outdoors. These stats will come in handy. Wi-Fi 6 support, enabling faster transfer of files from camera to your phone using the Quick app. But I want to test that more because there are times there are connectivity issues when you're using the GoPro Quick app. I hope those are also fixed, but that's something GoPro can do on the software side. There's a new voice audio mode which emphasizes voices over ambient sounds, but there are no hardware upgrades to the mic, so to speak. Software upgrades there as well. Quick capture function now has a 5-second window after stopping the recording to start a new recording, or to press the mode button to keep the camera powered on instead of shutting down immediately. Now let's come to the million-dollar question, because with all those modular accessories and features comes a modular price. This particular GoPro comes for 45,000 rupees. That's just the GoPro with its standard lens. But what if you want all the cool features I spoke about, the ND filters, the ultra wide, the macro? If you add all of them together, this is a very Apple-esque sort of approach, because if you add all those features together, this 45,000 rupee price goes all the way up to nearly 75,000 rupees. Let's see what kind of discounts you can get with that. But that then becomes an expensive and very multimodal package. Now, is that something that you'd want to go with? Look, there's also other form factors. You obviously have an iPhone that's now costing not too far away from that. The iPhone 16 standard one would come with a bunch of features that have now come in terms of audio and video and AI enhancements with the iPhone 16 lineup. Even the Samsungs, the Google Pixels, you're entering that territory now. If it's not a smartphone you want a DJI Pocket 3, you can get the entire combo for lesser than that massive amount. But the GoPro serves a different purpose and it is a different use case. It is fascinating to see that you can do all these things with the GoPro, and there are improvements made with this particular camera. Now, if you want to compare apples to apples, in this case oranges to oranges, the GoPro Hero 13 Black should be compared with the Insta360 or with the DJI Osmo. The problem with those cameras is they don't get upgrades every year. You sometimes wait for longer, and in terms of the after-sales service that you get in India, it's only and only GoPro that you can go to with a problem. That is a game-changing feature for a company that is trying to innovate, and we've seen that with the Hero 13 Black, but is also, well, up against a lot of competition. This, in terms of an action camera, according to me, is still the undisputed king.